Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We have dealt with the name Zimbabwe Communist Party. We have defined why we call ourselves the Zimbabwe Communist Party. But let us now deal with this myth, which says that for one to be president of the Republic of Zimbabwe, one has to be of Shona origin. If you talk to people in communities, they will tell you that a person must be of Shona origin if they are to become president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. It is a myth. But what are the origins of this myth? The origins of this myth are rooted in the colonial era or colonial ideas. It was used to divide Africans along ethnic lines. If you study the history of Africa, which we have done in this YouTube channel, we spent time in 2022 studying the history of Africa. When you study the conflicts in Africa, they have the footprints of colonialism, the creation of homestead or homelands, footprints of colonialism. So to divide the Africans, the colonialists introduced the ethnic question. They would argue and say an ethnic group that has more numbers than the other is the one that must produce a lead. This is why there have been ethnic wars. But let me not get into all of this. We might take more time. So this myth that one has to be of Shona origin to be president of the Republic of Zimbabwe is that the ethnic group, Shona speaking, which of course the Shona is made up of different tribes to form the Shona. We'll discuss about that later. Because the Shona as a collective have more numbers than any other ethnic group. Therefore, they must produce a leader or a president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So the majority, in terms of those that fit into this theory, that for one to be president of the Republic of Zimbabwe has to be Shona, they define majority along ethnic lines. The Zimbabwe Communist Party does not define the majority or the minority in terms of ethnicity. Our guiding, or should I say, our Bible, the Communist Manifesto, in its opening line, under the part where it deals with the bourgeoisie and proletarians, it says, and I quote, "The history of all into existing society is the history of class struggles." Close quote. Let me repeat. Quote, "The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle." Close quote. Now, the Zimbabwe Communist Party is engaged in a class struggle. There are two classes, the working class and the bourgeoisie. the working class are the majority compared to the bourgeoisie, who happen to be the minority. So when we talk of the working class, because ours is a struggle, it's a class struggle. We've defined, but we'll talk in the next video, the alliance between the working class and the peasantry. So the Zimbabwe Communist Party advances the interests of the working class and peasantry. Full stop. It doesn't matter whether you are Shona speaking, Ndebele, Tonga, Karanga, Kalanga, whatever. You are white, you are colored, you are Indian. As long as you are a Zimbabwean and you subscribe to scientific socialism, you become a member of the Zimbabwe Communist Party. If the Zimbabwe Communist Party decides to contest an election, when it puts its presidential candidate, it does not look at where its presidential candidate comes from or which ethnic group they belong to. No. The Zimbabwe Communist Party only looks at one's commitment to the class struggle. Nothing more, nothing less. When the Zimbabwe Communist Party elects its leadership, it does not elect its leadership based on ethnic lines or ethnic question. It elects its leadership based on its commitment to class struggle. Full stop. So as the Zimbabwe Communist Party, we dismiss this myth, which says for one to be a president of the Republic of Zimbabwe, one must be of Shona origin. No. Communists, as communists, were engaged in a class struggle. Everyone joins the party. If the Zimbabwe Communist Party decides in 2028 to participate in the electoral process and fields a presidential candidate, if it happens that it fields a comrade who is of Shona origin, it will not have filtered that comrade on the basis that is of Shona origin. It will have filtered that comrade on the basis of their commitment to class struggle. If the Zimbabwe Communist Party fields Ndebele speaking as a presidential candidate, it does not mean the majority of the Shona speaking will not vote for the Zimbabwe Communist Party and its presidential candidate. There is no way that a Shona candidate put forward by the Zimbabwe Communist Party, or put it differently, to say if you put Ndebele speaking as a presidential candidate, the party will gain less vote as opposed to put a Shona speaking person as a presidential candidate. That is unscientific. So in brief, I just wanted to deal as part of our political education as we recruit comrades into the Zimbabwe Communist Party, that we must dismiss this myth, which has its roots to colonialism, that we should be defined in terms of our ethnic origins. Yes, I'm born in Matabeleland South, in Umzingwane district. I'm born as a Ndebele speaking. I'm the General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Communist Party. It ends there. If the party is happy with my performance as General Secretary, and we decide to contest the elections in 2028, the party will say, Comrade Mabeni, you are the presidential candidate, and I will accept. But if I'm not committed, and under my leadership, the party is not growing, not because I'm of Ndebele origin, but because I'm not committed to the work of the party will be free to elect another comrade to be the General Secretary and lead the party. As simple as all that. Please share your views, comrades. Write in the comment section. Want to hear what you think, but it's important that as you join the Zimbabwe Communist Party, this myth that we should define ourselves in terms of ethnic origins, it is foreign to our ideals as communists. Ours is a class struggle. As I've quoted the Communist Manifesto, let me close by reading it again. Quote, the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles, close quote. We are not engaged in the ethnic struggle or regional struggle. We are engaged in a class struggles.